Hello, hello. It's Rebecca Jackson from Empathic Crow. I'm going to be using a deck that is new to me today, which is the Modern Witch Tarot deck by Lisa Sturl. I don't know. I may be pronouncing it wrong, and if I am, I apologize. I love this deck because as far as like representation and inclusivity, there's definitely a lot of that in the imagery of the deck, and so I've wanted this deck for quite a while, and I found it on sale, and I was like, I've got to get this deck. The thickness of the cards is amazing, but like it's really thick. I have arthritis in my thumb from hypermobility and overuse, so I can't shuffle it like I regularly would. I usually shuffle cards very easily. When you grew up in the 80s, yes, I'm old, you didn't have phones and tablets and things like that. We did have VCRs. Yes, VCR. You kiddos, if you're watching, probably don't even know what a VCR is, or you're like, oh my God, that's so vintage. And I don't know why I use that voice. I'm not trying to make fun of you. It just cracks me up when people are like, that's an antique or that's vintage. And I'm like, that's my life. But, you know, so shuffling cards was something that we did quite a bit. So there's an energy that I was feeling, and I tried to record this reading earlier, and it was funny because I said the card that keeps coming into my mind is the Devil card, and I split the deck. So this came out, the Queen of Pentacles, and so I'll talk about her in a second and what I was saying in the video that I had started recording before, but then was like, this is really heavy. But I guess this is the message that still needs to come out. So I was saying that I see the Devil card. And here's the thing that people need to understand about the Devil card. This is not saying that there's evil and the devil's coming after you or the devil made you do it or anything like that. What this is saying is the devil doesn't even have a hold of these chains. And if you look, the chains on the man, well, the people, we don't know. The chains on the people, and we don't need to know, they're not tight. Like they could take those chains off. They're standing there. They're stuck in their fear. Because of their fear, maybe we need to cover up the booty just in case. Because of their fear, they're staying in front of the devil. And if we look, this devil head is not even looking at them. Like he's not even looking at them. But they're so afraid to leave that they are caught up in their fear. And that is the big thing. This is why we look at the Devil card as like addictions, staying in situations like abusive relationships or friendships, things like that, workplaces, doing things that are making things harder for yourself or hurting you, but you stay in it because sometimes you're paralyzed by fear. Sometimes you are looking for that instant gratification. You know it's not good for you. You want that quick fix, and you just stay in it. So one of the things I'd said earlier, and I'm seeing it again, is just that there's a lot of this, like just that tunnel vision, the blinders, yeah, the blinders are on, and views are so narrow. And even for people who may have more open views right now, there's such a fear that's coming in that it's making it harder to, like it feels like your world is narrowing. So that narrow is a big thing that I'm hearing and seeing. And what were the notes I'd written? Pay attention and moment in time. Now with the Queen of Pentacles, the big thing that I noticed about her when I was looking at her earlier, because this is a new to me deck, is she has her eyes closed. And she's kind of in this state where it feels like she's just kind of meditating. And as I'm looking at her right now with the Pentacle and like this fertility and abundance vibe that we often see within the Queen of Pentacles card, like we have the rabbit down at the bottom, we have the curves of her body. We have in the original Queen of Pentacles card, there's like the pomegranates and things like that that can represent fertility and abundance. But it's funny, this is not the Empress card, but the image that I'm seeing of her right now, and look, there's also, and I had noticed this when I was doing the reading the first time, there's this goat's head, just like on the Devil card, where we have the goat's head representing the devil. There's this goat's head, and I imagine there's another one over on this side of her. Let me turn off my light. Maybe that'll help. Let's see if that washes me out. Oh, yeah, that's weird. All right, so we'll leave it on. But yeah, there's the devil's head right here, and she's not even paying attention to that. Like, it's just there. So I feel like, and I said this before, I feel like it's reminding you, don't fear that imagery. It's symbols. And while people do put meaning behind it, people put meaning behind a lot of things. So don't get caught. I'm just saying what I'm hearing. Don't get caught up in the little things, because that's part of what keeps the blinders on. When we look at the Queen of Pentacles, like, she is just kind of holding the pentacle gently, and she's got her eyes closed and just focusing on manifesting what she wants, focusing on sending, ooh, well, I saw the Ten of Cups flash. Because one of the other things that I had written down when I was trying to do this reading before is, it'll be okay. Like, this is a moment in time, but you got to pay attention. And this reading is coming through about the same as the one that I had stopped doing at 15 minutes, because I was like, I don't know, it's really heavy. It's really feeling kind of political, and I try to stay away from political and religious things because I honestly don't have the energy for the drama, and I feel like people get so, that narrow focus gets so upset about things that don't even mean what they think it does. But anyway, looking at this card, like, there's mountains and shadows in the background, but again, she's just kind of in her Zen element. And we've got the orange that she's wearing, like, which is what I'm wearing too, like, just staying in that creativity, that passion. She's comfortable within her sexuality. She is comfortable with who she is as the Queen of Cups. Like, she is not worried about what other people think or say. She knows her position, and she's just grounded there. Like, she's fine. So I feel like this is saying, you know, try not to, it's hard, but try not to worry too much about things, because we can't change some things right now. But I heard, even if you can't change it, that doesn't mean change isn't coming. So, so yeah, just know you may not feel it right now. Because the Two of Wands was revealed when the Queen of Pentacles dropped, and also the Two of Wands was a card that was had come out in the reading before. We'll go ahead and look at the Two of Wands. So when we look at the Two of Wands, we're thinking about the fact that several things. There's multiple options. Like, there's different choices. There's different paths, different opportunities. With this narrow view, we have to remember that she's not stuck on this shore. Like, there's a whole city over here. There's water. There's even mountains that we don't know what's beyond the mountains. She's not stuck on this, I said shore, but this balcony. It's a balcony in this deck. Now, she might want to change her shoes if she's going to do some traveling, but those shoes are amazing. I love this deck. This is awesome. But she's not worried about the opportunities. She knows she has opportunities. Sometimes with the Two of Wands, especially if it's reversed or whatever, you know, I feel like people feel stuck, or they don't realize that they have options and a path. But she knows. She's look at that face. She is super confident. She is just trying to weigh her options and figure out what it is that she wants. What is she going to do next? She has her phone on her. She just knows that she's got it. She just has to make a decision. So she's not worried. And I feel like that goes along with the it's just a moment in time. This is huge right now. Gosh, a lot of the same cards are coming out. So, and the Wheel of Fortune, which I had talked about in the last reading too. So I had drawn the World card, but it was bringing on a very Wheel of Fortune energy to me. So we'll talk about a few of these. I don't usually read by just pulling off the deck. I know some people do. But these are feeling very relevant. So when we look at the Seven of Cups, we just talked about with the Two of Wands, like having multiple options. The thing to remember about having multiple options is you may have a lot of options, but that doesn't mean that they're the best options. It doesn't mean that it's good for you. So when we look at this one, you have a rose, a heart with a crown, a snake. Snakes aren't necessarily a bad thing, but they can be detrimental or painful. We have a very tightly clenched fist. So this could be empowerment, or it could be, again, that devil energy holding on to something so tightly that you're hurting yourself. We also have some money, diamonds, and pearls. We have a victory wreath, and then we also have a tornado. Okay, so some of these options are not so good, and some of these options are much better. But even when you have these choices, even when you feel like you've got a good option, it's something that you really desired and that you want, just remember every choice has a consequence. And so even though you may choose something, like I said, the snake, it's not necessarily a bad thing. But depending on the choice that you make and how it presents, and if you choose to only focus on it through a narrow view, the consequences may not be what you want. Same thing for this fist. Like I said, it could be empowerment. It could be holding on to something too tightly. It could be even anger. And so understanding that whatever option you choose, whatever you feel you need to do in the moment, or especially if you do something without thinking, there's a consequence that comes with that. And that consequence can create difficulty for you. We also have the Emperor. And when we look at this Emperor, again, we've got the Capricorn energy, devil energy coming in with the horns that are on the Emperor's head. And even looking at the Emperor, there's just this, I don't usually see the Emperor as judgmental, but I do see a look that seems very judgmental. And I feel like the discerning is the word that I keep hearing. So maybe taking the focus off of judgmental, and when we're talking about these options and the Two of Wands and the Seven of Cups, just being discerning. Like don't take things at face value. This Emperor is sitting on a throne that, like, even the stone has cracks in it. I know we're in front of a modern city, and definitely the dress is a bit more modern. We've got some orange, which is that passion, excuse me, creativity. We've got some red, which brings in that grounding. But this is a very different energy with the Emperor than we had with the Queen of Pentacles. The Queen of Pentacles is kind of just, I feel, healing, nurture, meditation, like peace. And then the Emperor, like the Emperor is here to do some business. The Emperor is taking back some power, and I feel like that's one of the things that there's a lot of fear around right now, is like we're looking at a big city and everything, probably a capital, and there's just a lot going on with concerns about power. And I feel like the Ankh is kind of, especially amongst all this modern imagery, I feel like the Ankh is kind of just reminding us of that, you know, a moment in time. And like I had said before, that things or did I say that in the last reading? I'm not sure, but even as I'm saying that, the Wheel of Fortune is the next card that's coming up. But just that everything, what goes around comes around. So what's happening right now is not what's going to be happening forever. And though things may look like it may happen a certain way, that doesn't mean that it's going to. When we look at the Wheel of Fortune again, looking at the fact that sometimes we're down and we're just like feeling like we're just hanging on, and just you're on that ledge and you feel like everything is just topsy-turvy. Like even this week, I don't know, today's January 22nd. Yes. I don't know about any of you, but I feel like today should be Friday. This is the longest 3 days of a week that I've felt for a long time. And so it's sometimes you feel like the world just feels like it's turned upside down. There's just all this craziness going on. There's so many elements that contribute to that. And we have to just remember that what goes up must come down, was what I'm hearing. But also what goes down also comes back around. Like it's circle, so it goes back around. My brain is being really weird because there's so much coming through. When I'm looking at this Wheel of Fortune, and I've never read the Wheel of Fortune this way, but if you look at the guy on the bottom, like he's in a very difficult situation. Very difficult. He could fall off at any moment. And then the girl at the top, like she's just like la 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 la. Like she's at the top of that fortune. She's got the resources. She has the privilege. She has the things. And she's not even paying attention to what's underneath her. She's not paying attention to the fact that there's anything or anyone else around her. And she's not struggling, so she's not even paying attention to the fact that the other person is struggling, that there's even a downside. She's only focused on the fact that she's on top. That feels very important, but just know, like I said, the Wheel of Fortune, it turns. So even though somebody may be up right now and they have the privilege and they have the upper hand and things like that, it doesn't mean that that stays the same forever. And those who feel like they're disempowered or do not have the power, eventually it comes back around. Some people have this nostalgic view. They feel like they want to go back to certain times where they felt like things were simpler, and they don't understand even that sometimes things may have been simpler. Like even when we think of childhood, not all of us had very cushy or simple upbringings, but at the same time, often there are a lot less responsibilities because you can still have some of those difficult situations. And as an adult, you've got a lot more responsibility. So all the cups in the Six of Cups are empty except for the one that this person is handing to the child. And look at how appealing that cup looks. Like we've got sparkles. I don't know about you guys, I love sparkles. Even looks a little bit like ice cream or cotton candy. And there's a lot of green and blue, so heart chakra and speaking up. But I feel like with the Six of Cups, it's remembering that you can't go back into the past. And even if people try to recreate the past, they can't, because it's already happened and things have changed. So you can't recreate the past. You can bring in some elements of the past, but it's not, because we view things, I'm seeing the pink a lot, because we view things through those rose-colored glasses. We think the past is something that was better than, or some people think was better than. Like we view things, like even I'm seeing somebody standing up and speaking at a funeral. So even when we have a loss, like a job or a relationship or a loved one, sometimes we view that after the fact as being more positive than it was. We may have difficulties with the new situation or fears about the change and transition. And so then we have those moments where we think, well, maybe it was better, or this was a better thing, or whatever it is. But I feel like part of this is saying you can't hold on to the past too much, because what you feel like the past was is not necessarily how it really was. And trying to not fear that we're going back to the past, because like I said, we can't go back to the past. What's happened in the past has already happened. There's too many changes. I don't usually read like this. This reading is really weird, which is why I started re-recording it. With the 10 of Cups, that's our, kind of the 10 being completion, kind of like the happy ending kind of card. So we've got the 10 Cups. We have a lot of, I love that in this deck, there's a lot of diversity. There's a lot of representation and inclusion. We've got the happy family, and they're celebrating. I think like the message that I heard, it's going to be okay. It is, but that doesn't mean that it's not going to be difficult. Even when you're creating this situation, when you're bringing children into your life, when you are in a relationship, even a very healthy and good relationship can have some struggles and difficulties. Even when you love your children and there are wonderful things about them, it doesn't mean they're not going to frustrate you or there aren't going to be difficulties. So I feel like it's focusing on that 10 of Cups is still possible. Don't lose hope. Just understand that while there may be more struggle, it's going to be okay. Like what I wrote down. Just pay attention. And I picked this back up because it almost looks like a halo or a glow coming off of the rainbow. And so I feel like I just heard keep your eye on the prize, which is interesting because I remember when I was in school, there was a series that we watched called Eyes on the Prize, and it was about the civil rights movement. And I remember watching those recordings and everything from the 50s and 60s and segregation and all of those things. It hit me so intensely. The images and the way that people treated others. And I know for me, that's my fear of the past being recreated, is a lot of fear and hate and separation unnecessarily and without cause. Like I said, when we make choices, there are a lot of consequences that sometimes we don't even think about, whether that's how a decision may impact access to the things that we've had before. I just heard grass is always greener. So feeling like the grass is always greener on the other side. It's really easy, we have had that imagery so far of the rose-colored glasses and the grass being greener on the other side, and then the 7 of Cups, like the options. Not everything is always as it appears. Not every decision you make leads down this perfect path to what you think it will. We definitely need to come together, have your community, surround yourself with people who you feel comfortable and safe with. Surround yourself with people who share similar ideas and opinions to you. And I don't mean that in a way that you come together and create animosity or start things. Why am I swallowing quite a bit. I'll have to focus on that in a minute. Whew, that's weird. But understanding that there's still unity. There are still people who love you, people who support you, people who are not judging you for yourself, your decisions, and who you are. There's a lot of action that's taking place, and some of it feels like it's coming in really quickly. And when I see that motorcycle and the person on the motorcycle, I feel like it's almost a race to try to get in front of all these wands that are coming in really fast. You even see the little like dust or smoke at the back of the bike. But the thing is, and we're in a desert. Desolate. That was the word coming into my head. So there's a lot of sense of like just despair and feeling not hopeless, but less hope. And just know, don't feel that way. Like, it's okay. There's a lot of things coming, but there's also a lot of action that's taking place. Like with the Eight of Pentacles, I feel like I've never just picked cards off the deck and read them, but that's just the way it's coming today or tonight. So we got the Eight of Pentacles. Like, anything that we are doing, even if you're working on manifestation, it's not that you just say, this is what I want, and then it happens. Sometimes that may happen, but that's not typical. You have to put some work into it. So 8 and 8, we've got the things that feel like they're coming in really fast and you're trying to keep ahead of it. But just remember, you can slow down, put in the work, like really focus on things that you can do, things that you feel like you need to do. Don't feel forced into this fast pace because of the pace that you feel like is going on around you. Put in the work and do the things and create the reality and the situation that you want and that feels comfortable to you. And as I'm looking at her, like, she's just not even focused on the world outside. She's just focused on what she can control and doing what she can. There's a lot of healing that is going on right now with this star card. I am not familiar with this deck. We got a naked lady here, and I don't know how YouTube feels about that, but with the star card, and I'll turn it back around. If you're familiar with the star card, you know there's the two pitchers of water, and we have the earth, we have the water, so we've got some emotions that we're healing and going through, and those can be really difficult sometimes. She's got 1 foot in the water and 1 foot on the ground, and so while we're going through those emotions, we need to remember to ground ourselves. We need to remember, and the pictures in this one are red. And so again, that red root chakra grounding, being able to feel comfortable and confident within ourselves, like seeing her as this naked woman in the star card, I feel like it's even going back to, I hear back to the basics, like going back to nature, going back to yourself. So I feel like a lot of this is talking about even like when we do trauma healing, being able to really focus on your feelings, your emotions, your experience, and working through that in a way that helps you. We've got the stars in the background. I really feel like I need to mention a divine connection here too. Whatever that is for you, it can even be higher self. Again, that inward focus, but also if you do have a higher power of some sort, or God, angels, guides, ancestors, whatever it is that you feel is supportive of you, call on them, because they can help you to be able to become more in tune with what you need. Got the Ace of Cups. So again, I say, just know that it may not be the easiest journey. Um, but at the same time, we're going to get to that place of healing and be able to feel our emotions. Like, you see the cup is running over, and water definitely right now is feeling like emotions. There's even like droplets of water, and in my heart right now I'm feeling that as tears. Like, it, there's going to be a win somewhere. Things cannot continue the way that they are heading or the way that they seem, and having that patience is really hard. But even though we have these droplets that could be tears or even rain, we've got this divine hand bringing in that cup. Just understand that those tears, that rain's not going to last forever. Like, there's a golden halo back here. And again, I feel like I hear eyes on the prize again, like just keeping in mind that you have to focus on what it is that you want. Even though this water could be very clear, it's a very pretty blue color, there's still rocks in it. There's still pebbles along the track is what I'm hearing. There's still things that can kind of put us in that devil energy. But we got to focus on what we can control and what we can do. So the other deck that I had pulled out was the Oracle of Shadows and Light, and I'm trying to decide if that's still the deck that I want to use. Let's look at the decks that I have back here. So I'm probably going to be out of camera for a second. And this room is a work in progress. So if you hear, you get to see that I don't have on regular pants. That's fun. But nothing has gone as I expected in this reading. Definitely Namaste deck. Rebecca Campbell's Starseed is feeling like a good one for this reading. All right. My Nightmare Before Christmas pants. Huge Jack and Sally fan. Yeah, I love the Oracle of Shadows and Light deck, but it doesn't feel like that's the right one for here. So we're going to do the Work Your Light deck by Rebecca Campbell. The artwork is by Danielle Noel. So let's see what comes through in here. Like I said, none of this reading has been what I thought it was going to be. I don't always have the time to do readings right now. I am in a burnout recovery phase, and so I have not had the time to even, or energy to do things as much as I would want to, but I am trying to recover and push through. Creating this room, this healing space for me has been a really awesome start for that journey. And I do want to be able to be more present outside of work and doing readings, because I do enjoy them. And it's a great way for me to be able to have a connection with spirit outside of just that internal one. Like, be able to share that. So, what are the messages from the Work Your Light deck that we need to know to kind of clarify and support some of the reading? Because it was, I feel like it flowed, but at the same time it felt very disjointed. Akasha, your guidance is divinely guided. And that's what I was saying. Like, whatever, and please excuse my nails, whatever your divine guidance is, even if that's connecting with your higher self, whatever it is, it's time to take a step back and really focus on being open to the guidance. And as I look at the photo, like, there's so many different elements in here. We've got the pyramids and the statues from Egypt. We've got a balance of like gray, black and gray scale, as well as pastel colors and very vibrant colors. Like there's a lot going on and there's a lot to take in. So connect with whatever it is that you see as a higher power and allow that to guide you, knowing that what's going on here on earth does not necessarily reflect the end all be all, or even what's going on here in whatever country you are located in. Because with any human experience, there are going to be things that we just don't connect with, we don't understand. So right now we have protection, call back your power, cut the cords, soul retrieval. So yeah, as we said, this is really being able to take back your power. And sometimes power doesn't have to be like a physical or aggressive thing. Taking back your power can be like that where is it at? There it is. That 8 of Pentacles card, like being able to figure out what are the things that you can do. Like, are you going to advocate? Are you going to research? Are you going to do something that helps other people? Whatever it is that you're going to do, call back your power, but also cutting the cords from people, places, situations, events, things like that, that are taking away that sense of safety and security, that make you feel less than, and like really reintegrating yourself within your soul. Remember when we talked about the Queen of Pentacles, like getting into that Zen confident space, that space where you embody yourself completely, accept yourself completely, and no matter what is going on around you or what other people think, their opinion does not matter. I think the hard part is that there can be safety issues, like these shadows and mountains that we see in the background of this card. And that is where, you know, we talked about, what was it, the 3 of Cups, being able to surround yourself, build a community, surround yourself with people that you feel safe with, that you feel loved by. All right, any other cards from the Work Your Light deck that we need to focus on? All right, this makes sense. I might not say it correctly. Pleiades. So double mission, channeling, and uplifting humanity. It's not that you have to take on the responsibility of lifting up the world or channeling all the messages or anything like that, but with connecting with the divine, that Akasha, the first card that we got from the Rebecca Campbell deck, your guidance is divinely guided. Just channeling your intuition, knowing we all have intuition. Not everybody is in tune with it. Not everybody listens to it. It's part of our survival skills. But being able to really focus on how you, within your life, within your circle, within your community, can do things that help to break some of those devil chains that you may be feeling right now. The feelings of being trapped by fear, feeling like you can't move. It's getting into that 8 of Wands and figuring out, okay, so things are coming in really quickly. What are the things that I can do? And taking that power back. Just take your power back. Anything else from the Rebecca Campbell Work Your Light deck? 38 minutes. This has been a weird and long reading. I think there are definitely some powerful messages that are coming through. I'm not getting anything else from there. It's very heavy. I don't know if you guys can feel this as I'm doing the reading, but even before I got on, it's just so heavy. Like my headache is lifting as I have done the reading, but I had this huge pressure in my head, and like I said, that Atlas sense, weight of the world on my shoulders kind of thing. There's still pressure right here in my third eye, but not as much pressure overall in my head. All right, so this is the Namaste deck, and this is by Tony Carmine Salerno. Woo! That was small hands, so we'll shuffle through a little bit more. What do we need to focus on? What do we need to think about? What do we need to know? All right, 2 cards came out. So we have Infinite Blessing. I love the designs on these cards. Blessings flow to and from you, endlessly expanding in all directions, filling you with healing light that guides you upon your blessed path. Rainbow light flows from your heart, creating infinite peace. Those are a lot of the phrases that I've been talking about, kind of the endless expanding in all directions, not having the blinders on, being able to look, being able to take notice of things, filling you with the healing light that guides you. We talked about the star card and that healing. And when I looked at the rainbow, so it's funny, it says rainbow light flows from your heart, creating infinite peace. That's the star. We can't show her because she's naked and like very vividly drawn. But with the 10 of Cups, that rainbow, like I said, it looked like there was this light or like glow coming off of it. So just reminding you that you can create this peace within yourself. You don't have to receive it from others. If there are people in your life that help you and that you feel like are supportive, that 3 of Cups energy, or even the 10 of Cups, you know, if you've got your own family, whatever that looks like. Family is not always the biological family that we were born with. Family sometimes is the family we create. The second card, and so it's beautiful. We've got the butterflies, kind of a transition. We've got the moon and the tree of life with a heart in the center. There's so much going on this card. This is the sunlight blessing. A ray of light bursts through the cloud of uncertainty and darkness and transforms to light. A new day is born and the first buds of spring appear. You are blessed with the birth of something new. A season of your life begins with this very special blessing. So was it in this reading or when I was doing it before? Where did we have that sun in the background that I pointed out? Was it this one? Like I said, I tried to record this earlier. Maybe it was in the earlier reading because I'm not seeing a sun. The Ace of Cups, definitely I talked about the halo coming through or the light coming through and how it's kind of breaking through those tears. Definitely can look like a sun energy. Just keep in mind there is a new beginning coming. And like I said, we can't get too fixated on the fear of what's going to happen, the fear of the future, the fear of things returning to how they have been in the past. And this will be the last card here, a blessed idea. So we have another tree. There's a lot of yellow coming through in this one. An idea manifests endless blessings, but you must act to bring the idea to life. So that's what we were talking about with even the 8 of Pentacles. So we can want something and we can say, oh, I want this. And you can write it however many times. You can say it however many times. You can pray for it, whatever it is that you do to try to manifest a situation. But you've got to put some work into it as well. You've got to take the actions. And sometimes that may even be being able to recognize the opportunities. So like we talked about the 7 of Cups earlier, you know, you're going to be presented with a lot of different opportunities in your life, and not every choice that you make is going to be the best choice. So you've got to get in this 2 of Wands energy, like this beautiful, confident woman or person, and say, I've got options. I'm confident that the options that I choose are going to work for me, and I'm going to take I don't have to rush. Like I said with the 8 of Pentacles card, put in the work, and you don't have to rush. You don't have to match the 8 of Wands. Feels like everything's just flying at you, coming at you energy. And like with that Wheel of Fortune, knowing that when you do have fortune, you don't have to just focus on that you're on top of the world. It's okay to notice that there are people who are struggling, and maybe you struggled before. It's okay to share that energy, to lift each other up, to come together. The time is right Know that the world is full of ideas floating around aimlessly until someone notices and breathes life into them. This is your time to shine. Have faith. So just know that even though what you see and what's presented to you may be very narrow views and things that are meant to incite various emotions in people, but you don't have to buy into those things, and you don't have to focus on them in the way that people intend for you to. Fear and division are a great way to create a lot of conflict. So find that community. Where is the Three of Cups? I just had it. There it is. Find that community. Connect with people who you feel safe with, who support you, people who are like-minded. Find ways that you can build a safety net that makes you feel good about the world in which you are residing, regardless of what goes on, even if it's coming through with this Emperor energy that has the devil horns on it. Usually when I look at the Emperor card, so it's interesting that this is the design on this deck. I see somebody who is very noble, discerning. They're not aloof or looking like they're someone who looks down on other people. They're not void of emotion, but they're not reactive. They're not judging. And yet when I look at this card, and maybe it's the way that my view is colored right now, I see someone who, yes, they have the airs of confidence, but they're sitting on a throne that doesn't even look incredibly stable. There are cracks in that stone. They have the devil horns, so even with that confidence, there's fear or what is it? Fear or illusion is the word that's coming in to try to, because where's that devil card? All right. The devil card was on the bottom of the deck, so yeah, there it is. Look at this card versus this card. The imagery is very similar in these as I am seeing them right now. We've got the devil sitting on a pedestal, and there's the horns, and then we've got this emperor, both of them in the red, both of them with their legs crossed. And I feel like this is important for this reading, not necessarily, I don't always read these cards like this, but and their eyes are slanted in the same direction. That's interesting. I'm just hearing pay attention. Pay attention. Not everything is what it seems. You already know this. Don't get stuck in the fear this devil card represents. Don't allow others to create that fear within you. Focus on your divine guidance. Focus on your higher self. Focus on your intuition, and do the things and connect with the people that feel most supportive to you. I know it's hard, but try to focus on stepping into that Queen of Pentacles energy that's coming through this card right now, of not being oblivious to the outside world, but also not allowing it to affect you and the decisions that you make to the extent that you lose your peace. You deserve peace. There's a lot going on. We can't keep the blinders on. We can't turn our heads from what's going on, but we have to be discerning. We have to be really focused and discerning when we're looking at the options in front of us and making the choices that align with our hearts, with our minds, with our souls, with what we know to be right for us, so that no matter what's going on in that outside world around us. We're creating the destiny that we want. We're keeping our eye on the prize and on the things that we want to create. I can feel like there's a lot of powerlessness at times. And so I think that's why even, I've got a mess of cards here. Even in my journal, what I had written was, let me go back to it because I didn't write it on like the last page. I wrote it on some random page. Here it is. It'll be okay. This is a moment in time. Pay attention. The Wheel of Fortune reminds us that things do not stay the same forever. And what's going on right now and people are seeing as kind of the best options. And maybe it's creating good situations for them. That doesn't mean it stays that way forever. What goes up must also come down. When things go down, they can't get any worse. Eventually it's going to go back up. So don't worry, because this Wheel of Fortune keeps turning. Focus on doing good for yourself and others. Focus on being the person that you want to be and that you want to see in others. Focus on modeling that love, compassion, and caring that you have. Try not to take the hurts and the trauma that you've experienced and turn it into that clenched fist that we see in the Seven of Cups. With that clenched fist, it's not the aggression, it's the empowerment. Focus on the empowerment. I know even as I say that, I feel like we're coming back to a fight that it feels like has already been fought. That there are things that it doesn't make sense that we're returning back to them. Or that people don't recognize that they weren't the greatest things in the first place. But it's going to be all right. It's going to be all right. Your guidance is divinely guided. Focus on those things. It's already 52 minutes. Take care.